You know, it's funny. The older I get, the more I start to consider things that I honestly never cared about before. And one that has really been on my mind lately is security. Not only for me, but for my home and my family. And so I've taken a bunch of different measures in that space, but one that I haven't tackled just yet, and probably is the most obvious that I probably should have started with, but now I've got it tackled, is a home security system. And so when eufy reached out and wanted to send over this, which is their new eufy PoE NVR security system, well, it seemed like the perfect solution. And there's a lot built in here that actually, if you're looking for a system like this, this might be the place to look. Now, eufy has been making cameras like this for a while now in different various shapes and sizes for different applications, but this one in particular is really suited for that home security because it's an NVR setup, which means everything is directly connected by wire to a central hard drive where everything is recorded without needing the cloud, without needing Wi-Fi. It's all connected by wire. And that's great when it comes to security because, well, we all know Wi-Fi has issues. If you don't have the right connection, there could be issues. This type of system kind of takes care of all of that. But there's even more built in that makes it a little bit more unique because NVR systems are nothing new, but this is the first PoE NVR security system with a Bullet-PTZ Triple Lens camera that also offers on-device AI and cross-camera tracking with auto zoom. Okay, so if you get this kit, you're gonna get 5 different things. First is that NVR that I talked about, so that, central recorder, but then you also get 4 different cameras. Camera selection and placement is really the name of the game here, but what eufy is trying to do is kind of give you the best of all worlds. And so the idea here is that with these 4 cameras, you are able to get 360-degree coverage on your location. So in my case, it's my house, but this could be your business or anywhere else. And the idea is that these cameras allow you to get that coverage, even though you only have 4 of them. So this is the PoE Cam S4, and this is a 16 megapixel Bullet-PTZ Triple Lens camera. Now that's a lot of words, but what it means basically is you get 3 different camera lenses built in and it can swivel. So you get maximum coverage out of just 1 camera. And then now you have 4 of these to mount around your home. And now you are seeing where that full coverage comes from. Now I'll talk about the features more in a second, but to install this, I mean, it's a relatively simple process. Everything you need comes in the box, but these are PoE cameras, which means they are power over Ethernet. So you're not gonna need Wi-Fi. There's no battery built in. This is directly hardwired to that NVR system. And that means a few things. First of all, like I said, you're getting that connectivity that you would want from a security system. So it's hardwired. You're not relying on a wireless system. That part is great. The other part though is that it is hardwired. So depending on where your location is of where you're installing it, it could take some work to get that cable back to the NVR. And so for me, that's gonna be my project for the next few weeks. But for now, just for this video to kind of demonstrate everything, ignore the wires. You don't have to run them through the wall. You can run them around the outside perimeter. I eventually wanna make sure it's clean, that you don't see the cables. But for now, I'm just running the cables to make sure that everything is exactly the way it should be. And then I'll put in the work to hide those cables. Before the installation, everything you need comes inside the box. So you've got your cameras themselves, you've got the NVR, and then you have all the cables needed for that, which is really nice. You can actually get extra long Ethernet cables so that you can do a run if you need to, and that comes in the box for each of the cameras. So you can just buy this kit and be up and running without needing to buy anything else. That is a nice feature. And then it comes with all the mounts so you can place the cameras and install them permanently. Now back to these cameras because they're pretty cool. So like I said, you are getting 3 different lenses with this system. So up top, you have a fixed 4K 122-degree field of view lens here. So this one doesn't swivel, this stays put. So wherever you install the camera, this is permanently going to be looking, and it's wide angle, so it gets a wide view of the area at all times. But where I think the really cool part comes in is on the bottom. So you get the 2K PTZ camera, and this does move. So you get 360-degree coverage with this lens. And so this solves kind of one of my bigger issues with security system and cameras like this is that you can kind of have one camera that's fixed, but then if something happens, over here, it might miss it. But if it rotates, then while it's looking over here, what if something happens over here and it doesn't know to rotate and look over here, right? This kind of has the best of both worlds. It has that one camera that gets a wide angle of everything, and then the bottom camera can kind of focus on the details. And that's exactly what it does. So this has AI tracking built in. So because those cameras move, move and they can zoom in, it can detect what is happening in the scene. And if it, for instance, detects a person, it'll lock onto it and zoom in to focus on the action, see what is going on. And it will move and track the subject no matter where it goes. And so, like I said, it's using that one wide angle camera up top that is fixed to kind of detect the action that's going on. And then the bottom camera does all the work. But what's really cool is because this has that smarts built in and they are all connected to the same central location, they can communicate with each other. And what that means is that, for instance, let's say I have one camera facing my front yard and I have another in the backyard. Because these cameras can rotate and they talk to each other as well. Let's say someone decides to, walk in from the front yard and go into my backyard and start snooping around. Something I don't want to happen, but very real possibility. Well, the camera will detect in the front yard the person, it'll lock onto them, track them, and because again, they are communicating between cameras, as it goes to my backyard, the second camera that I have installed will now take over when the first camera can no longer, continue tracking the subject. So it'll seamlessly pick up what it is tracking and continue that, in theory, 360 degrees around your property. That is a huge benefit, and it means you don't have blind spots, which is always the issue with a security system. The one thing that you need to be recorded is always somehow in the spot that the camera is never at. This shouldn't ever have that issue. And because it is always powered on and it is always monitoring, no matter what happens, anyone comes up, mailman, a delivery person, anything like that, no matter who comes to the door, the camera will lock on, zoom in on them, and it can be a bit of a deterrent if someone sees the camera following them, which I kind of like that actually. And it just gives you that peace of mind that whatever is happening on your property, it's being recorded. And so with these 4 cameras, you're essentially getting the same effect as if you had 8 different cameras installed, but it really does get the job done. Now with that tracking, again, it's using AI and it's smart, so it can lock on to one single subject, but if it's a group of people or multiple subjects, it can expand and make sure that everything is in the frame and track those as well. And it can detect up to 50 meters away. So that is a really far distance. So if something's happening far on and it's coming closer to you, it's going to see it and start tracking. Now all of this, like I said, is being recorded directly onto the NVR system. And this is just a small box that has a bunch of Ethernet ports in the back where you connect the cameras. And inside it comes with a 2 terabyte hard drive, which is expandable up to 16 terabytes. So if you want to make sure nothing is ever deleted or, have a long buffer time before something needs to get overwritten or deleted, well, you can do that. And 2 terabytes out of the box is a nice touch. And it can support 1,000 megabits per second for its connection speed. And it has ports for 8 different cameras. So if you wanted to add more for different areas, for instance, if you wanted to check out these different cameras that eufy has, this one is the Turret Cam E41, and this one is the Bullet Cam E40. These ones are great if you just need a fixed camera somewhere. They give you 4K, they have 5 times digital zoom, and they can still do that AI tracking. But point being, these different types of cameras that eufy makes can all still work with this one NVR system. So you can start with these 4 bullet cams, and then you can add on to it if you find you need more. Now inside, the NVR has an 8-core processor. It has on-device AI, so you're not relying on the cloud, and it gives you 24/7 recording, and you can monitor that live feed from multiple locations. So it gives you multiple feeds. You can go through HDMI if you wanted to plug it into like a TV. You can go to a laptop, you can go to your mobile phone. This can stream the feeds it's receiving wirelessly to wherever you need to see it. And what's also nice is that because it's recording everything and it has that AI built in, it can then categorize what it's seeing. And so you can use Smart Search and look up different keywords, and if it has seen that on the cameras, it can notice that and pull that footage directly. And of course, the quality is great. So it has what they call starlight color night vision, so that you get a really vibrant picture during the night. And it also has lights built in, so we can use that spotlight if it needs it for more color and light. And it has infrared mode, and during the day it just generally looks good. For security system, I think it definitely passes the test. So yeah, like I said, eufy's been in this game for a while, and with an NVR system like this, you're getting the peace of mind that what is happening in your area is being recorded. It's hardwired. You're not worried about any signal issues or a battery dying. This is a hardwire connection that you can see from anywhere, and then it can record continuously. And not only that, it has 360 degrees of coverage. So if you're looking for a security system like this with different cameras, this is a pretty killer place to start. I'm really glad I have this. And if you want to check out more about it, learn more for yourself, I'll leave links down below. This is where you can get the best price. And if you use my code, you can get 15% off. So check it out. I don't think it's ever a bad idea to up your security game. And while having a system like this, seems like a good start.